Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michael, or as the grandkids call me, Roo. Thanks for joining me live at Roodoodles. That's the Facebook page right here where you are. People find me several ways. You Google Roodoodles, and you just pop up with Roodoodles. A couple pages of Roodoodles. This and part of that has to do with you people because you post on my page. You share my page, and it keeps coming up. So when you Google Roodoodles, that's a lot of O's, isn't it? You come up with Roodoodles Facebook, Roodoodles page, Roodoodles.com is the website. It's not a gallery site, so there's not a lot of paintings there you can see. Some of you want to see some paintings from years past. You can actually go to the Facebook page and click into your link that says photos there on the page and just go down a trail of, oh my gosh, 10 years of and you see an artist improve, I hope. Hey, let me say hi to some of you. If you're on the show this morning. There they are. The comments just popped up. My gosh. It just went boop and they all showed up at one time. Where have they been hiding? I don't know. But thanks for being on the show. Let me turn down Anthony Dvorak this morning. Hey, hold it down just a little bit, sir. And let me say hi to some of you. Thank you for being on the show. Glenda Small, thanks for jumping on this morning. Good mickering, she says. That sounds like an Irish that sounds an Irish greeting. Good morning. Virginia Man, thank you for being on the show from Alabama, or you live with Al. I don't know which that is, but I'm glad you're on the show. Beverly Edwards Miller, good morning to you. Sandy Rowe, good morning from Southeast Minnesota. You know what? I'm if I needed to quit painting, I could start working for the post office because I've learned a lot of state abbreviations. Oh. Happy Tuesday from Elise McQuillan, Shanlin Martinez, Denise Albright, Tamberly Marie. Thank you all for being on the show. Pat Brooks, thank you for being on the show. And, I've learned, Pat and I are conversing quite a bit now because we're working on this book together. And I've learned when Pat types out with all her emojis, wonderful people, she really means it. She's pretty doggone sincere. And so isn't it funny to collaborate with an artist that you've never really met in person, And we've never even Zoomed. We've just talked on the phone. And so, no. Well, I had her on the show. I interviewed her, but that's the only time that I've really met her, even through a camera lens. So that's been fun. So anyway, I'm working on the book. Barbara Meyer, thank you for being on the show. Plains, Missouri. David Snitzer, good morning to you, sir. And I think of you every time I pick up a good coffee cup. Do you have one of my mugs? Man, I got to get you a mug. David Snitz, as I call him. David Snitzer is a longtime friend. Used to go over to his place in Hendersonville and do some blacksmithing and all kinds of stuff, man. Michael Ashburn, thank you. Paint a story, friend. We all need it, brother. We do need a story. And I got one for you today. Well, no, I'll make one up, though, just because you just said that. Sharon Duke, thank you for being on the show today. Glad you're here. Terry Tardy, Tuesday Roo, blessings to you. Belinda, welcome. Chris Whitaker, Jan Campbell, Jackie Wallace, Lee Patkus from Baldwin Park, Florida. I know Lee is like Bob out in Iowa. They just make up names for all the little towns they live in Florida. I'm by the rock, by the sandstone, down by the... first time I met Lee, I think he was in Boca or near... No, maybe you're still in Orlando. Tamberly Marie, Linda, thank you for being on the show. Laurie, thank you. Annette, just ruined and swoosh. Hey, we're going to do a swoosh today because I got something on the desk I got to show you. Here's a matter of fact, just take a look at this. I'm going to flip to the desk shot so you can see what's laid on the desk, even while I say hello to a few more of you. There it is. A little obsessive. Okay, these are all Chinese brushes, all bamboo brushes. And you think, that's a little bit greedy. Is he a hoarder? And I'll tell you this. Maybe. No. I'm telling you this. Here's the thing right here. Wait a minute. Wrong switch. Hit the wrong switch. Just give me a second. Here's what I've learned. I've learned that after 10 years of painting, you're in an art store, and doggone it if you just don't go pick up something. And so that's how that happens. So Mary Jones, welcome to the show. Sue, is it Pizzello? Whoa, man, I love it. From New York, Deborah Spranger, thanks for being on the show. Mary Jones, Raylene Culberson, Bob, morning from the thank you for taking us on the wonderfully crazy ride, Cornfields of Iowa. It's gone into a sentence. If it goes into a paragraph, he'll have to start his own blog page. Okay, I love it. Tina, Balamin, okay. We got to figure this one out here. It's Badalamente. 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 I like it. You'll have to send me one of those things that says, you know what you do in dictionaries now? They have the little thing you can click on that goes, the word is dog. And I went, I knew that. But I know from East Tennessee, sometimes I don't say it right. Brenda Dow, Ann Wester, Philip Wilbarger, good sense of humor, man. Jimma Jensen, Teresa, Nancy, Renee, Sally, golly, Cecilia. Thank y'all for being on the show this morning. Dolores, thank you for being on the show. Audrey, Ruth Ann, Judy Dole, welcome from Tybee Island. Been there, done that. Don't have the t-shirt because I don't wear t-shirts. I wear $4 pinpoint cotton shirts from Goodwill, not because I'm a cheapskate, but I do have nice shirts that my wife buys me when we have to go out and I have to attend functions or speak or do something. But these I don't mind getting paid on because, it just happens because you're painting in a white shirt. Well, guess what? It's like wearing a black tux and doing biscuits. I've done that recently. Alice Durham, Renee Thompson, thank y'all for being on the show. Okay, here we go. Hey, so this little video I did yesterday, some of you saw it. It was just me using pens. And I'll tell you what, it's just in 2 days, 1 day for sure. The stylus it's going to be jettisoned simply because, not until it all runs out, but they have quit making this pen right here. That's the stylus. You wouldn't know it was a stylus until you looked at it. It's just got one word that says stylus. You find it like that. They've priced themselves out of business. So a kiss for luck and you're on your way. But I've still got some. The other pen, of course, was they're all piled up here somewhere. Papermate. Sorry, I thought I had them all out here, but I don't. So here it is right here, though. It's the Papermate Ultra Fine. And it did really well. It's got a very dark gray to it. See that? Okay. So that's the second pen. 1, 2. We're going to go this way. 1, 2. 3 is the Finito. And it looks like this. A big old heavy honking pen. But it's made by Pentel. That to me right now is the one that I'm sort of graduating in that direction. So that's going to be pen number 3. And then of course this was the Pilot Fine Liner, which is like this. And even though it's a little blue-gray, this one I think was wounded. It just didn't, I think it's an old one. I'm going to try this pen again, and it's made by Pilot. So the 2 winners right now are these 2 pens. But for the money, this little Papermate is doing well. So look at this. Gives you several. Now, why would you use that in the first place? Well, I'll show you sometimes. You just want a pen to bleed, and you just want it to tighten. If you want to soften lines, if you're working on a little landscape, if you're doing some creative things, pens are good to have. Don't rule pens out in your watercolor world, okay? In fact, don't rule any of these things out that I have here. All right, so here we go. Karen Carpenter reference. Pat says we've only just begun. We've only just begun to live. One last I promise you. Kiss for luck, and we're on our way. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Yesterday when Ron was here, thank y'all for the gracious time for letting me have him on the show, but he's grateful for that too. But I know he responded to some of you. Nice young man, great. His wife, they're just sharp. Got a couple of little sweet kids. I sent him this painting home. I didn't know if he wanted it or not, but I just gave it to him because I said, your kids eat greens? He goes, no, not too much. I said, well, send this to him. It said, macaroni. I had to ask you how to spell macaroni. Macaroni schmoni, eat your greens. And so then I thought, that roux, I like that roux. And so I'm going to redo that painting this morning. And then I'm going to show you something with bamboo brushes or Chinese brushes that I think you're going to love. Just going to take you on a little, something I haven't done in probably 8 or 10 years with bamboo brushes. Okay? So hold on to your shirts. That's an old teaser to say, here we go. I gave Ron a mug yesterday as he left the show, the roux mugs. Here they are right here. Have a little rooster painted on it. I think you can see that. Here. Maybe it'll focus. Maybe it won't. If I turn it the right way. It's got a little ruse head on it and that I painted. I have 16 mugs left. That's it. Find them at Roodoodles. That's it. That's it for now. My wife is saying, you should print some more of those because they're kind of fun and they're fun to give people and they're fun to put in a box when you send out to folks. But we're going to see. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to take a Pentel 05 Intergel pen and I'm just going to, I penciled this in so you can sort of see it. here's a process from tip to tail of painting that kind of that big roo yesterday. And there's a lot of ink or pencil around here, probably more than I needed. But if I skate as lightly as I'd like to, if I sketch, if I use my pencil like an ice skater, you have a hard time seeing it. So I'm just going to do it in pen here. I like to put the beak in first because it just helps me figure out where the rest of the real estate needs to take place. Now I've got this position, and so I know where it's going to be. If you're drawing a cat, sometimes you don't want to start with the tip of his tail because then you don't know if you got enough room to put his head on the page. So I tend to start with the important parts that I want people to focus on first, and that's the face. Why is it the face? Because the face of my roosters help tell the story. It's part of the conversation that they get into. Simple as an eye, letting the light in. So that's kind of where this is going a little bit. And so I've got this eye, and I just did a little switch around like that, kind of half of a moon hubcap, and it's almost like, oh, a little surprise. You see that? And that's kind of what I was going for. And why did I know how to do that the first time? Because most of my life, I sat just making some eyes like that. And I go, oh, there's one. Here's one. That's this one. If it's like this, it's a little more mean. You see how that does that? So you practice eyes. You do this one, that one, another one. You just keep going. All right, so here we go. I want the comb to be overlapped down here like this. And you know I'm putting this in with a pen, but you know if I want to run outside the lines, guess what? That's what I do. But I like some, he's leaning down, so he's got a little bit of feathers that are just not going the same way, kind of like my hair does. My hair just does what it wants. It doesn't matter. And I don't think I'm going to worry a lot of these feathers here. I'm just going to put a little bit in like that, put a line down here, and then maybe some more. I'm going to come in here. Yeah, this is looking pretty good, actually. And I'm going to come in here, and he's a pretty big roost, so I'm going to beef him up a foot there. There it is right there. He's got some big old clubs for feet. And then maybe this drops down a little bit, and this foot here is coming over like that. Okay? You see how fast that's coming together? And yesterday I had him talking to a couple little peeps, telling them to eat their greens. Today he's being told to maybe pick up his socks if roosters wore socks. And here she is right here. This is the lady saying, dang it, if I tell you one more time to go easy on the grasshoppers, then one of us is going to have a long discussion. What happened to Antonio? Did he just go by the wayside? I'm waiting on you, Antonio. Oh, yeah, there he is. Dvorak. He was some of his music is melancholy, but I like some of his classical stuff really well. Okay, never met him. All right, so there we go. So there's my little painting. I'm pretty tied in today, so I think you can see. And the reason I put all these brushes out here is because I'm going to show you something with them in a minute, especially these big ones right here. But today I'm going to paint with my normal brush, maybe two, that one and that one. This one is what I call my normal size. This is about a number 1, maybe a number 2. This may be a point or a 1. They're just fun. They hold a lot of water, and that's kind of what I like about them. I'm going to lay them right there and see if these are enough to do this painting today. Maybe a little too much pencil right in there for me. I'm just going to get rid of some of that. I'll clean it up a little bit. And I didn't have enough eraser dust on my desk and shirt. So just sweeping some of the pencil marks out. It's fine to sketch with a pencil. That's what they're for. It helps you line up the paper. Sometimes I just don't. I've done so many thousands of roosters that I'll just grab a pen and go do it. And part of what makes me loose is that I don't really care if I went, oh, I didn't want to do that just like that. Well, it doesn't matter to me. You know, it's like, oh, that works. Here's the thing. There are billions and billions of roosters out there, not as many as stars, billions of roosters, but they all look a little different, and it's okay. It doesn't matter. Same with dogs and cats, you know. Now, that's different if somebody sends me a photograph of Rufus, the big Roo, in their backyard and says, please, please, please paint this for me. I say, no, thank you. They say, no, you don't understand. We're not asking you. We'll pay you to do it. I say, no, thank you. What you need to do is find an artist who is a fine animal artist and have them look at Rufus and get a feel for his personality and then paint him exactly like you see him. Because I don't do Rufus. I don't know Rufus. I just know the roosters that I paint, and I'm a loose, whimsical caricature painter. And so I know my style. Pat and I were talking about this the other day about illustrating other people's books. And in this case, she's illustrating an idea, and I wanted her style. It would have been impossible for me to say, Pat, I want you to do this book with me. I'd love for you to do it with me. And I want you to paint my style for what I'm trying to say here. And she'd go, well, I don't paint your style. So that is a tough one to do. Okay. So you need to learn how to paint and do your story. And so that's kind of what you do. And I'm scribbling those. And sometimes they're just as simple as this. There's 4 stories right here. And I can do that. We talk about that in a painting class all the time, about finding your own voice. All right, so here we go. Big brush, and I'm just going to paint this roo, and I'm going to paint this roo a little different. I'm going to add something because that'll give me a heads up on this bamboo. Let me see if I can find it. There's a tool here on my desk I want you to see. All right, here it is right here. Take a look at this. Can you see this? This is a little piece of probably slate. I don't think it's marble. I think it's slate. A small little well right here. And then there's a little divot here that looks amazingly like you could lay a brush in it. It's actually carved in there. It's kind of like a little fish. So this is a tiny little brush rest for an inkwell. And that's what this is. This is a flat inkwell. Okay? All right. So here's what you do. Look at this. I take a little drop of ink. This is just black ink. This happens to be Chinese ink, but you can use India ink or Bombay ink, or I think there's some Bombay ink here. I was going to show you. This Bombay ink is black ink. It comes like this. This is India ink. You may know Higgins ink. It comes like this. It's called Black Magic ink. There it is right there. This is what you fill up pens with if you're a cartoon artist. I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3 little drops of black ink on there for now. That ought to do it. Okay, there it is. And so I'm going to take my bamboo brush, and I'm just going to start here. And I like to start up on the head of this thing, so I'm just going to put I've got a little bigger brush today than I normally paint with. And why is that? I don't know. Where's my little brush? Here it is right here. Think about bamboo brushes. Let me show you something about them. You go, how in the world can I paint with that? Look at that. It looks like a mop that you use on the back porch, you know, where the dog's been sleeping. And no, here's what happens when you dip that in water and you swing it around a little bit and you wipe it off on the edge of your cup. Look at the shape it takes. Oh, wow. And so now you realize you have all that goat hair hanging in there like a mop. So you're going to need some paper towels, and you're going to need a dark shirt. That's why I wore this one. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to put a little water in here, just dancing around a little bit. And then I'm going to go get some paint. And for now, I didn't wet these down this morning. I'm just going to spray a little water out of my atomizer bottle like so. Just wet these a little bit. It helps you pick up paint a little easier. It loosens up the cakes or the tubes of paint in your half pans. So that's why you're doing that. Where'd you find an inkwell like that? Oh, great question. Sandy Road, this came with I bought it in an art store with a bamboo brush, okay? And it came with some Chinese paper. If you've never used rice paper, be careful. It's crazy to paint on, okay? I have painted on rice paper. Good morning, Robert Small. Joy, don't worry about being late. Mugs can be ordered from Roodoodles.com. Yes, that's where you go. That's how you can get it. How do you order a mug, Kimberly Nash? Look, people looking out for me. Thank you so very much. Go to Roodoodles.com. There's a little page there. The book is on there too. It said sold out, but I had a dozen books. Went down to the art bar yesterday and went, wow. Let me put these books in. So there's Hey Roo, What's a Wheelbarrow is there too. I painted 2 and mailed out 2 new ones yesterday. That was fun to do. And all right, so there's the Roo. I could, while I've got this brush out, paint this down here. But sometimes if you get 2, thinking, oh, I'm going to be efficient here in my watercolor. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to paint this with the red. I'm going to put a spot of red here. You're going to wind up with red all over the place because I like to lay my hand down sometimes. Sometimes I paint loose up here like this, but sometimes in tight places, I like to lay my hand down a little bit. Maybe come in here. I like a little bit of orange touch on that. And I might even come in and just get some of this Gamboge yellow and put it up in here. Voice sounds a little hoarse today. Not a little rooster. All right, so there we go. So now we're just going to grab a little bigger brush, and this is where the fun begins. I'm just going to start sweeping in here like this. Add a little water here and there and yon. I think this rooster has got to have some dark blue in him right here. So I'm going to pick up a little blue, drop it in here like this. My hen's going to have some blue in her. But here's where I wanted to go get this thing and show you. Look, that's this little inkwell. Remember, I put 3 drops, I think, on there. I'm barely going to lay this brush down. And I'm not going to stick it in like this. Oops, sorry, you can't see that. I'm not going to stick it down in there like this. Ding! I'm going to lay it on its side and sort of just roll the tip of it. So I've got my brush. I've gone 1, 2, 3 on a paper towel to take some of that water out. I'm just going to lay the tip of it down, and I'm just going to roll it very gently in that ink, okay? And then I'm just going to go right in here and let that hit in there. Look what happens. It becomes this beautiful, loose, dark watercolor. And man, don't think there wasn't a lot of ink in just me touching that. This was clean water just a second ago. Irma, look at this. There's my jar with the rooster on it. I did have clean water up here today, thanks to you. Okay, so I'm going to go get some more of that blue because I want a little more blue in here. And what's happening now is that if I just pushing this through and overlapping like this, I'm leaving some holidays. But see, I'm overlapping. And look what's happening when you overlap. You get these wet on wet, and you get the black running through there, and you get the concept of feathers. You can do the same thing on other animals if you're doing, especially if you're painting yellow with Big Bird. I'm just kidding. All right. I think I want to just see the top part of this Roo come together here because I'm liking how he's going. He's a big old bold Roo. I'm going to put a little yellow in his beak. Excuse me. Hold on one second. I'm not on my radio show where I can push a cough button. I used to have a button on my board at WISE in Asheville, North Carolina. Michael in the Morning, where I played big band and swing and had a button and say, I need to, and you couldn't hear me cough. They still have those today. It says cough right on the button. You just hit it, cough, then you're back. All the tricks of the trade. I'm going to have to put a cough button on here. See if I have one here. What's this? Aha! Look at that. I did it. Didn't know there was one until I looked. All right, so I'm gonna get a medium-sized brush here and just go back in here and do some painting on this. Now I'm going to take this and I think I'm going to do these feathers black on his tail. So watch, I'm going with this bigger brush. I'm just going to, this will lead up to what I'm going to show you, what I'm going to attempt to show you with these brushes in a minute. So I'm just taking this and I'm just rolling a little bit in there, touching a little more water in it. Man, this is some pretty wet paint here. I'm going to turn this Roo over and I'm just going to drag the brush. No, I'll just leave it like this so you can see me do this, I think. Well, no, I'm turning it like this so you can see me do it a little better. Look here. I'm just going to lay this brush down and just drag it through like this. Look. That was a damp brush, a smidgen of black ink, and I am done painting feathers. Oh my gosh. And people say, wow, I don't understand how you paint so fast. And I go, well, it doesn't take long to just drag that brush across the fanny of that rooster about 4 times. Then you're done. Okay? So I just did it. So now I've still got a little bit on here. If I go back and just get a touch more water, no more ink, I come in here and I get some real light feathers underneath. You say, well, I'd rather have dark feathers underneath. Okay, so here's the problem with too many brushes, just showing you, and too tight a space. I'm dropping my brushes in my paint over here. I still got this big old bamboo brush, but I'm gonna come in with just a touch more ink. And look, with this big brush, I'm just lightly approaching, and I'm putting some little feathers right in there. Can you see that? Watch this again right here. Watch this. Doot, 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 doot. Okay, I can even go up in here and add a little bit of detail to this. And I like a little black up in the wattle because it shadows a little bit underneath. Tone is good. Look at this. I'm just going to come in here with a couple sprigs off to the side. How's this going to dry? It's going to lighten up a little bit, but I think that's going to be awesome. I think it's going to give that little gray feathered look that we're going to love. There's a little, okay. All right. Hey, I'm going to love it. I love it just because it happened. Okay. So I'm going to stay with this big brush. It's kind of fun. All right. So I'm going in my clean water. So now here's what I'm doing. When you use ink, I do recommend you using 2 things of water. The one that'll clean out your watercolor paint, and then the one that'll clean out your ink. Because ink, I'm telling you now, listen to me. Put something down under your watercolor area if you don't want ink on everything, because it is slick as glass. It'll take off and leave you. Okay? You heard it here. All right, a couple questions coming in. Nope. Yes. No. What is rice paper? I saw some yesterday and was wondering. Rice paper is, you can read a newspaper through rice paper. I may have a piece over there, so one day I'll dig a piece out. It's like painting on a paper towel, but it doesn't rip as easy. But it is like a wet paper towel. It's like this, okay? I mean, it's like paint goes everywhere, and then it has to dry, and it dry. It's fascinating, and it comes in sheets about this big. And I'm just going to tell you this. Don't do as I say, do as someone tells you who's painting efficiently on rice paper. I've done 3 paintings on rice paper back in the days, and they turned out pretty well, actually. I did the first fish I did on rice paper. I did a series of grapes and I did 2 flamingos on rice paper. And I did those all with Chinese brushes, and I did them with liquid ink, pouring it onto the rice paper and blowing it and scattering it out. And I also did it with masking fluid. So I got pretty complicated. And now I'm going like, whew, that is a lot of work. And I'm just too old for that. I'd rather have a chainsaw. Okay. Good morning from Katy, Texas, just west of Houston. All right, so you guys are going into your own thing. I love it over here. There's a kitchen construction going on. It's not snowing in Katy. That's good. We can see you cough, but not hear you. That was the whole point of a cough button, okay? Hi, Liz. Good to have you on the show again. Sarah, I love your paintings, and roosters are one of my favorites. You make it look so effortless. And Sarah, it's supposed to look effortless. And honestly, I got to tell you this, Sarah. In all honesty, sometimes it is effortless. Look, this is not heavy lifting right here. Watch what I'm doing right here. I'm just going into this hen. And I think because I got so much blue on this rooster, I'm really going to change directions with this hen. I'm going to go in and turn colors with her. And I'm going to load up this brush over here. And this is what I was going to show you anyway. So now I'm to it before I was going to show you. I've loaded up this bamboo brush with a little bit of 2 colors. I think this is a sienna brown. I think it is. And I know, and this is called, is it Lucky Penny? No, Copper Kettle, I believe. I think that's called Copper Kettle. Just some old paints that I had laying around, and I just put them in here. So I've put a little bit of both of these in this brush, and I just rolled it in there sideways like that, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just really change gears on you. Look, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to touch the tip of this brush into this black ink. Ready for this? So I'm just taking the tip and rolling it right into the black ink right there. Just picking up some of that ink that's still on this block. Okay. Now I'm going to make sure there's plenty of water down here. I haven't done this in years, so this could just fall flat on the face and ruin a painting, or it could actually work. And now I'm just going to go in with my little brush, and I'm just going to go in and let this happen. Look what's happening right here. Out of one brush is coming all these little colors. Did you just see that happen? You thought, that guy might know what he's doing. I doubt it, but he could. Okay. Did you just see that happen? Okay. Boom. Okay, I'm done painting that that hen. So for those of you who go by Jerusalem to get this done sometimes, I want to simplify your world as you learn. When you get better, you can apply any method, any mentality, any approach you want. But in the beginning, some people, they work all day on getting the color just right, going, I wonder if that's right. I wonder if this is okay. I wonder if people will like this. I just put the brush in two different colors mixed, added a little of a different color on the tip. That's why I like these brushes. And then I just touched it to the water, and look what happened. Bingo. Okay? We never doubt you. Oh, yes, you do, June Jones. Don't say you don't. You doubt everything, but the point is, here is my point. We work amazingly hard at making watercolor difficult, and that's a whole bunch of the same adjectives over and over. We work, and it makes the harder we work, sometimes the more difficult we make watercolor. Just lighten up and loosen up and have fun with it. You notice that I haven't touched this hen since I put that down there, and I'm not going to, because here's what's going to happen. And I have a better view than you, trust me, I'm this close. This water is still breaking that ink and that paint apart. And so those little trailings are going down, and they look like, from my viewpoint, real feathers. Okay? Take a look. I'm going to see if I can come in on this for you. Hasn't focused yet. It's tried. That's a little better. You see up on right in here? You see right there where my finger is? Those little leads are running down, and that is so doggone cool. I love it so much when it does that. It blows my mind every time I do something like this. Every time I get to paint watercolor. All right, so what I've done here is, so I haven't mixed all those colors on the palette and tried to lay them in and tried to painstakingly paint feathers. I didn't try to paint feathers. I just mixed 3 different colors in the tip of my brush, drug it across a wet surface, and went, stop. Put the brush down, back away from the easel. Now, I'm going to come in here with a little bit of gamboge right here, my little pan I keep for mixing. Clean out a brush, go touch, just barely touch the red, put a little of that in, clean that brush out. Get a little bit of this gray, put that in. Now, here I am mixing some because I want the legs of this hen to be a little more, that's too pink for me. So I'm going to go catch a little bit more yellow. Maybe a little Halloween orange. There we go. I think I'm getting to what I want now. But because now I did something really crazy. I reached over and I got a little bit of this brown here, this sienna, and I put it over there too. And I made my foot color this because I wanted it to match just a little more with the body. So I'll bring it in there. And I'm going to put a little more yellow with it because I want his feet to contrast. I want them to be a little more bold and yellow. Big old Roo, been walking around. He's got a little bit of farm dirt. We'll put that farm dirt in there in just a second. Get that right here. Kind of come underneath with some of that. There it is right there. See that? Okay. Little shadow on the back part of his legs. Come in here with a little bit of this ink. Just touch the ink block over there and just touch it right in there because I want the bottom end of this rooster to have a little shadow in him and down that leg. Okay. I think I need a little splash of orange right here just coming down just because I wanted it. That may be too much, so I'm just going to go in and do a little eraser with a clean paper towel. Boop. Just like that. Come back in and add just a smidge more right there. All right. So now I'm going to come in with a pen, maybe even a fountain pen, and I'm going to just highlight this eye right here just a tad. And right now I've put in a little piece where there's a little thing coming up on the eye, and so he's changed a little bit from me. He's not so surprised as he was because he has another little piece that's happening in his eye, and you'll see this. If somebody buys this, you'll see it. I'll see it. He looks a little like, shucks, I'm sorry I disappointed you here. I'm sorry I disappointed you. You know, it happens sometimes when I get in a rush at night and Carol goes, you know, I got to tell you, here's the sink and here's the dishwasher. You were this close to like scoring a goal, but you kicked it and it hit the post and back glanced off. You just set it down there. Where were you going? Well, I had to go. No, you didn't. Just open the thing, rinse it off, put it down. She's right, you know. She really is right. got quiet. Oh, wait, I'm the only one in here. Okay. Okay. Now, there's several ways you can do the little veining on the feet. Man, I got to hustle to show you this other piece. But you've seen what I've done. I'm going to do a bigger version of this. That's what I want you to see. What a cool little painting. By the way, I've done this on 9 by 12 Kilimanjaro paper, and I'll trim it off. Excuse me. Didn't mute it that time, did I? So here's what we'll do. A little, let's see, paper towels everywhere. I'm just gonna grab a little pen here and go in. I think I'm gonna grab you see one anywhere? Yeah, there's one. You see one anywhere? Number 7, Intergel, because they write pretty well over ink. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of detail up in here. The detail for me is just little pieces that I put in. Now, I'm going to show you something with my new pen, not the new pen, but a pen that I'm using. I always use, so much I use this little ultra-fine flare pen that's gone out of print already. I've still got a couple. But today, just for fun, I'm going to use my Finito pen by Pentel, and I'm just going to go in here and create a little bit of scratch lines like this. I think it's appropriate that the ground that the chickens would be on would be scratch lines, don't you think? Okay. So I'm just putting that in there, and I'm going to let that just sit for a second and start to dry a little bit. But it's going to wake up when I put some water on it. Now, what I want to do here is I want to come in with a pen, and I could do this with a very tiny brush if I wanted to. I could come back in. In fact, I'll do this on the other one. So this one I'm just going to do it my normal way. I draw some toenails on there like this. A little bit of just use the pen for those. Just a little rough, sketchy detail. And then I put some veining in the feet like this. I put one turned up this way underneath and then a couple down. Maybe a couple coming across. And then I put just some little follicles of hair. And, what do you call it? We get goosebumps. Do chickens get people bumps? What do they get? I don't know. The skin is real bumpy, and that's why they call it that. Those are goosebumps. All right, so now what I can do is just come in here and put a little detail in the back of this, like that, to show that hen's feathers a little more. Oh my gosh, look at that. All right, so let me show you how I'm going to finish up the bottom half here. I swept my pen across that, darkened it up, and then I dropped a little green on top of it like this. Then I'm actually going to drop a little of this same color on it that I used for their feet, because ground isn't always just green grass. People go, we put kids in the 3rd grade, they say paint some trees, and they all just paint a big green glob with a stick under it, and you go, that's good, but there's a lot of space in there. So there's a lot of space in the earth too. There's all kinds of colors. If you start looking, let me show you something else about a brush like this. Take a look. You see how I can just take my fingers and feather it out a little bit and make it just look kind of rough. You see that right there against the paper? See that? Then I can take it and just drag it in like this. Oh my gosh, and I just did some grass with it. Look at that. It just happened, just like that. Okay. Hey, if I were selling bamboo brushes, and they're not a sponsor yet, you would have a fun time saying, that's a good brush. Here's what I want you to start to learn too in my art classes and also on this show. You're gonna come to your art area. And I hope you got an art area. If not, make one if you're gonna get serious about this. And serious is something that you're passionate about and love. Not that you're gonna sell art and make $1 million. Good luck on that. Okay, that's not why you do this. Trust me. The point is, you do this to during COVID. You do this because it saves you, it rescues your life. It builds community with friends across the country. It's what Ron and I were talking about yesterday. It also lets your brain continue to work and flourish. And I don't even care about the news. The news is going to come. The news is going to come and go. And it's going to come. It's going to go. It's going to change. It's going to change tomorrow. It's been changing since Jesus came. It's been changing since the Romans crumbled. It's going to continue to change. the point is, I think we have to be wise, but I think we also have to continue to be creative and helpful and serve other people. And so that's kind of where my world is. So, Carol and I invite folks over for dinner. And a couple folks show up. We know they're safe. We're safe. We cook a steak on the grill, and we just talk about life sometimes. 2 people. Will we ever get COVID? Probably all of us will at some point in time. All right. I think this painting has just changed. So I'm going to really change it. I'm going to take it modern in a way you didn't expect. I promise you didn't expect it. Let's see if I still got time. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to take one of my pens right here. Art is therapy for whatever ails you. There you go. Linda says, right now my art is my kitchen table. I live alone, so I could get away with that. And I think that's fantastic. And I'll tell you what I do also. Thank you for Linda. I keep one of these little, which I paint out of all the time. There is a sad thing that's happened. Oh my gosh, I'm sad, but I'll get over it because some of you have already, and don't send me an Altoid box. My Altoid box has been with me for 11 years. It has fallen out of my bag and I've lost it. I still have my Young Life when it's here. It's here. And so I still use it. And it was time to clean out the other one anyway, but I do love this little silver box here because it actually lets all six pads sit down. So don't send me an Altoid box because I'm walking every day this week and I'm 1.5 miles from Trader Joe's, and so I just walk in and buy one for $1.69. I have the little boxes and the half pans sitting here and all the paints. My point is, some of you are so kind, you'll go, oh, let's send him an Altoid box. I don't need them because I'm just going to dump the Altoids out anyway. But my point is I take this downstairs and I take a water brush. And I have my journal, my Bible journal there, my other journal. And so sometimes at the kitchen table in the mornings, I just sit and I'll paint something completely different than roosters, completely out of my thought or school, whatever pops up on the page, it snaps to. That's what I do. So I sort of live, eat, and breathe this thing called watercolor. I love it. All right, so I'm thinking what this thing needs right here, though, is I'm thinking about it. I think I'm going to leave it and surprise you. So right now I'm just going to sign it and I'm going to put 2021 on it. But I think it's going to be something that you didn't expect. All right. Look what I just did. You've seen me do that in a long time, have you? I grabbed a pen that's white. It's made by Uniball. It's white liquid gel. And I just grabbed a little bit of it. And I put some of it in this ink back here to just highlight some of that. And I put some spots here. All right, there it is. All right, I got to get this piece of paper down and start on something else here for you this morning. So thanks for watching me paint that. That's a big old roo that I wanted to paint. And this is Kilimanjaro paper. It's drying really well here. And this is a art block, okay? This is not just a pad. This is a block. That means it's glued down all the way around. So if you're ordering online and you go, what's the difference between a pad and a block? And you can't get anybody to tell you, this is it. This is an art block. An art pad this is an art block too, okay? All the way around. This is an art, this is an art pad, where one sheet of paper is glued only on one side and it flips up like this. That's an art pad. Glue is only here. Okay? Art block, art pad. This is a notebook. Kilimanjaro. This is what I paint on a lot. This is a journal book that you can take with you. You can paint on anything, folks. I paint on tablecloths at restaurants. I paint on pizza boxes. So somewhere on the art pad, there's a place where they didn't put, and it's usually at the top, I just want to show you, they didn't put glue. And it's, in this case, sometimes it'll be on a corner. Most times on big pieces of paper, it's right here. So this is glue, the glue stops, glue, the glue stops. So what I'll do here is I'll put my little tool down in there, like so, and I'll just slide this under. Someone sent me a note and said, hey, I use an old credit card for that. And you go like, okay, well, there you go. And but I use this tool, or I use a palette knife like this, which works really great. And I had palette knives because there was a phase in my painting where I was going to paint with knives because I thought it just sounded cool, And I like the way that if I were going to be an oil painter or a heavy acrylic painter or gouache, I'd paint with a palette knife. I love knife painted photos because they're so loose again. All right, so there's the painting. Now this painting needs to have a little spot of blue in it, doesn't it? Needs a little bit of sky here. So what I'll do is I'll come in and just, whoops, wrong color. I'll come in here and I'll just put some water in here, grab a little bit of blue ink and just kind of swap it around, wash that out a little bit. And try not to make clouds, try not to paint puffy clouds. They're great in cartoon paintings. They're great in illustrative paintings. They're great when you're painting skyline. For me, I just need a little background in there to keep this going. And so that's plenty. And so I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll probably still trim this painting down. It doesn't need all this. This is a 9x12 sheet. Need a little bit to frame it about. That's really it. You're going to wind up with a 9x9, 9x10, something like that. Probably 9x10? Is it going to be 9x9 would be fantastic. Look at that. Well, let's call it 10x9, something like that. Okay, good painting. Even if I did do it myself. All right, I just threw it down on the floor to dry, and let me show you. I got about 15 minutes here to show you something completely different. If everybody's doing okay. I'm really starting to like blocks. I get a lot of warping, yes. And blocks, you will pay a couple extra dollars for blocks. And thank you, Philip, for that. But you'll find that if you get a lot of warping and you're not sure, especially when you're beginning, you don't know how much water you poured in or did you put in too much water, watercolor blocks will help hold that paper down. As a matter of fact, the best thing that I should have done right then is just left that on here until it's completely dry and then pulled it off. But I was thinking I was going to use this piece of paper and I'm not, so I could have done that. I could have just left it here. And then that's why you have two. You have this one, and then you let it dry, and then you go to the next one. So blocks will help you avoid so much warpage, especially on good paper that tends to hold a lot of water. And this is 100% cotton. Cheap Joe's is where that came from. It's Kilimanjaro. That's his paper. Joe created that paper with some folks in England and had it created for his company. And all right. So here we go. So I want to show you something completely different here today. Let me get some tea out of my thermos. I brought some tea up with me this morning because I could tell I had a scratchy throat. So, all right, got a few minutes to go here in the morning show. And what I did was, I don't think you can see it, but I'm going to repeat that hen for you a little bit. There's painted on here very lightly. There she is right there. I'm holding her up. There's a little hen. I just sketched her out. She's got a low little wattle and a low little pushback comb, and I'll probably make her a little more chesty. I guess that's what you call it. Can you say chicken breast on the line? I think you can. All right. So I'm going to pull these two brushes out again. Here's a bigger brush right here. But I'm just going to go get this big old brush right here. I'm going to that one, and that one. All right, so I'm going to use three Chinese brushes, bamboo brushes, as you wish. I'm going to drop these back in here, my jar, my handmade. I always brag on that. I brag on it because I can't wait to get back into glass class and blow another vessel. Woo, I love them. Hey, when you order a bamboo brush and you get one like this, when you pull off the little sleeve on the end, you'll notice it can actually stand on its tip. This is feels like a needle, and that'll stay stiff until it's been sealed that way until you break it up in water. Then it softens up, becomes like a mop head, but it'll regain some of its moisture and shape later. All right, so here we go. So I'm got this oil block again, or water block, whatever it is here, ink block. By the way, you don't need to do this ink block in here, and in fact, I'm going to show you this. Take a look. All right, some of you mentioned this the other day when I was up on the show, and I brought this up here a couple weeks to show you, and I never did. All right. All right, so here we go. This is a porcelain tray. made great BB gun targets when I was a kid because you could hit them with the BB and the porcelain starts to crack off and it just keeps splintering. And my mom didn't appreciate it much, but man, that made a great sound. My BB gun, and I learned to shoot in a porcelain tray. It's called a butcher's tray. Sometimes I just drop some paint in here. Here's a little cat red. Here's a little Halloween orange. This is probably that burnt sienna here. I think this is called Mummy. I have no idea why. Someday I'm gonna see Joe and I'm gonna say, Joe, what in the world? Who named Brian? Probably named that. Brian's got a great sense of humor. Brian or Megan named this a Mummy up at Cheap Joe's. This is my fridge gray, and this is something. Not copper penny, copper kettle. Copper kettle. It's copper kettle. Okay, so now here's what I'm gonna do. I might set this down in here. But I'm gonna paint this hen in a very quick fashion by using whatever colors I have here. I just squeezed those out randomly this morning. I thought I needed some red, some orange, some brown, maybe something with a little bit of a shininess or the copper in it, and then I wanted black ink. And I'm going to show you how to paint this hen like I did that other one, just really quickly with. And yes, you guys are going to suggest all these different things that work, and I think that's fantastic. Here's the thing. If you find that a ceramic tile works great to mix paint on, that's good for some people, but here's why it's not good for me. So I'll tell you, not that this is a rebuttal, but this is how discussions are supposed to be held in our country today. You go, well, I don't agree with that. You go, well, I don't agree with that either, so let's figure out why. That's what our Congress won't do. So here's the thing. Look, if this were a ceramic tile and I put watercolor paint on top of this, and then I added all the water that I wanted to add, before I could get back to my paint, the water is going to be rolling off. And even if the tile's down here, it's going to go somewhere. So for me, if you're painting acrylic or oil that lays flat and doesn't get run all over the place, for me, I got to have some sides. You know, I can't make gravy on a griddle. I need gravy in a deep skillet because I like gravy. And so for me, that's my reason for it. But tile is a great surface to mix paint on. Glass is an even better surface, but I can't mix watercolor on glass. Now, if I had a glass box that had an edge, I'd love it. But then if it's glass, it has to have a white underneath it for me to see the color pop. So this works really great for me. It's a pan. My brushes will fit in there to pick up some of the paint because I'm going to roll them like this. That's why I've stationed them all around. I didn't want to line them all up here because they're going to run together because I'm going to be touching these with a little bit of water. And I might even drop my ink in there, but the reason I didn't is because it's loose already. So I'm going to put it here. And the reason this has a little divot in it is because my ink will stay in that little well. Oh, I bet that's why they call it an ink well. I'm going to start referring to it as my ink cistern. All right, I know I ain't right, people, but it's okay. All right, so that's my painting surface right there. Let's see if I can do this. Let me get this out of the way. Let me drop this in the box and not waste some good paper. Let me get my tea over here. Let me move this over. Oh, I think I can do this. Look at this. Okay, you're going to miss a little bit of the colors, but I'll move it over to mix the colors for you. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with her neck right here. I'm going to work this direction. We know this is going to be red, and this is going to be red, and that's probably going to be a yellow-orange. So I'm going to start right here. So I'm going to take a medium brush, maybe this one right here, kind of medium, clean it out. All right. What happened to Dvorak? Did you dial me? Okay, so here we go. All right, so I'm going to take, and I think the neck should be some almost like I did that other one. So I'm going to go in here with a wet brush, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this. I think I want the light at the top, so I'm going to put a little bit. So let's do it backwards then. I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to take a little bit of this right here. Let me wet it up a little bit first. Okay, so I'm just adding a little bit of water. See that right there? Sweeping it around a little bit. Ooh, see that color? That's kind of cool, huh? All right, so let's see how this color matches. This is going to be the mummy brown right here. All right, so that's kind of cool. All right, it's getting out there. Cleaning my brush between each one. This is the copper kettle. Copper Kettle used to be a restaurant in Knoxville, Tennessee. You'd go eat at the Copper Kettle. Maybe it's in Atlanta too. They had one. This is a little bit of, this is Halloween orange. This is a little bit of red. I think it's cad red. It's not a metal red, but it's a cad red. And see what it's doing. It's just, that's some tough paint right there. Okay, and then we got ink. So here's what I'm going to do. I want this light color to start at the top and wash back. So I'm gonna go with the heel of my brush, a damp brush. All right. I'm playing. Haven't done, that was the first time you saw me do that in years right there. First time you've ever seen me do it. I haven't done it in years. I'm going to take the heel of my brush and I'm going to roll it in just a little bit of this mummy color right here, just right there. The heel of my brush. And then I'm going to go in with the middle of my brush and I'm going to pick up some of this sienna right here, just the middle of my brush. I'm going to roll it in the sienna. Then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to get the tip of my brush and I'm just going to put some tip of it into that copper kettle. So, let's see what happens. I'm going to add just a touch of water right here. Just to loosen up this paper. And then I'm just going to lay my brush in here and I'm just going to let it do what it needs to do. Look at this. Okay, so now what powered over was the copper kettle. Woo-hoo-hoo! So that got caught too much up in my brush. So I want to come in with a little darker. And you know what I should have added? I should have added a touch of black ink. And that'll do it. So if I have to do this painting again, I will. But I think I'm going to rescue it here by just adding it in, okay? So there's the neck of that rooster, or that hen, just with a mixed pound. Now let's do it again. Let's go back to the tail, and let's get a little bit of this in the middle part of the brush. Can you see what I'm doing right here? Right here. This is playing, people. This is what you need to do. Make yourself another cup of tea on a good rainy day. Go in here, and now get a little bit of this ink. That's why I put it in there in the first place. And then I'm going to let it come in here, and I'm going to catch this hen and go back here and just in one stroke do the feathers of this hen. And you're going to see, wow, almost too much black. Let's go get some of that out. And then let's drag a little bit of this copper through there, okay? This is an old farm hen, man. This is the kind of hen my granddad used to raise. You go out on the farm, and I'm just going to do her leg in the same color. And I'm going to let it roll out like that. And I suddenly get, look what's happening here. You see those white pieces that are going to show up? There was so much ink, and you got to be careful with ink. I said it from the get-go. And probably what I'll do is the next day or two, maybe even Saturday, I might do another one of these just to say, hey, this can get away from you. So what? You know, I'm not embarrassed that it didn't really go south. I'm going to turn this into a great hen. I promise you. I'm going to go in here and get a little bit of a damp brush. I changed brushes. I went from this size of a brush, probably a number 4 or 5, a 4, to this number 1. And now I'm going in with a little bit of red, and I'm just going to do her wattle here. And I want that red to be pretty rich. And then I want her wattle to be rich up here. She needs one more leg. I'm going to go get some, I'm going to keep that red and that mummy in there. And I'm going to come down with a little bit of that right here. Do the other leg. You're going, well, her feet are awfully dark. And I'm going, well, it's muddy on the farm. Well, life on the farm is kind of laid back. So much an old country boy began. Early to rise, early in the sack. Thank God I'm a country boy. You know, John Denver made that song famous, but he didn't write it. John Summers wrote it. I always love to see who wrote the song, huh? That's always kind of fun. Go behind and go, who wrote that song? There's a Christmas song that maybe some of you have heard. It's called Mary Did You Know? Mary, did you know your baby boy one day walk on water? It's a great song. I heard that song a couple times, and then I didn't hear it. The first time I heard it was by the man that wrote it, and I was with him, and we were doing an event. And Buddy Green wrote that song. He and Mark Lowry. He said, hey, I wrote this song I want you to hear. And then it's like I'm thinking to myself, Buddy, man, if I write a song and it sells 1 million copies, I could become a rooster painter. All right. Okay. So there you go. There's a quick little roo. Mark Lowry. Yeah, but you know what? June Jones, I'm glad you know that. Mark Lowry was the humorist, right? Buddy Green was the guitar player, and he and Mark sat down and wrote that song together. Buddy Green. Look him up. The best harmonica player I ever met. Played the William Tell Overture at Carnegie Hall. Buddy and I are dear friends. That's why I have a harmonica today. Buddy. All right. Great fudge, Elizabeth Smith says. Yeah. Copper Kettle. They make great fudge. They were also a restaurant. Okay, hey, it's about time for me to leave, but I want you to see that you can just take a bamboo brush and some several different colors on something that doesn't get away from you. And if you can mix this on a tile or flat surface, and just take your brush one more time. You got to see this before I leave. I'm going to finish this painting because I really like it. And I'm just going to put it on this piece of paper right here, which is a fly sheet in the middle. I'm just going to take this brush. Uh-oh, I've got something lost. There it is. Take this medium brush. I'm going to put a little dark in there, a little, maybe a little yellow in here, maybe a little part of this, a little copper kettle on the tip, and then just a touch of ink. And I'm just literally going to wipe this across the page. Take a look at what happens. Okay. All right, I just want you to see that. That's all that paint is in one brush. If you want to get over the fear of being loose, then change your style a little bit, and you will do that very, very well. Okay? So, Sarah, they're really not techniques as much as they are, and Bob Ross would say, happy little accidents, and that's what happens sometimes. So, funny part is, look, this could be turned into a beautiful fish. Okay, you could go in, put an eye in there, come down, change the head. Look at the color right there. Look at that. That is just fabulous color. All right. Okay. Hey, man, you guys are so awesome. I appreciate you allowing me to do what I do. And Roodoodles.com is where you can get a hold of my books and a cup and another book that Pat and I are working on. And that book is called Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle. And that's really my style. And so it's been my style building Rube Goldberg and making metal art and blacksmithing and whittling. And so it's really good. I've been whittling for a long time. And so it's just a fun way to pass time. I whittle when I walk when I whittle. And you can't text and drive. You can't whittle and drive, but you can walk and whittle. And so I haven't hit a parked car yet. And so I'll walk down to Trader Joe's today and maybe get me another Altoid box, and I'll whittle a piece of Riverbirds on the way down. So, Philip, thank you for hanging in here. Glenn Small, thank you. And thank you for sitting in on my talents. And just, you guys see me as talented. I see you as just as talented. I'm just at a place where I'm kind of the one sitting in front of the camera right now. In a few years, you guys can be sharing with your neighbors, your kids, your grandkids. I'm out of here like a herd of turtles. My book is on the way. Brenda, it is on the way. Mailed it yesterday. Your book left here. Hey, listen, here's what I want you to do. Tomorrow, I'm not painting. I'm painting to a private class, and there's a lot of you in the class. Thank you so much, and I'll probably put a little video out there today for you to check in and see. There's no homework. There's just practice, 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 or play, 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 if you can. And a couple folks, Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, and here's the thing. Saturday morning, I'll paint again just for everybody. And a couple folks have sent me emails about the class, and I'll have some information for you on that today, too.